T.A.G.
Tag, very nice, very evil.
Yeah, that's tag shit.
Free fall as I dive through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really want.
What up, Tag Nation? It's your boy ScooterRay, and I'm here to bring a NXT.A.G bonus. Now, for weeks, we were introduced to this quartet. They were introduced during Vengeance Day, and they were known as the 4 rogues from the Performance Center who's been causing havoc, causing chaos. They just been beating up people left and right on NXT, and we don't know any motives. We don't know why. We really didn't know who they are, except for we knew one because, But to keep the kayfabe of it and things, we don't know who any of them are. Now, this past week, after they beat up Tony D'Angelo, they had a promo outside, and I wish there was a better picture, but here you can see the quartet. Now, if I am remembering this correctly, I could be wrong. Storyline purposes, we only know Dion Lennox. He's the only one that's technically been known because we've seen Dion on NXT TV. He's been there. His last moments on NXT TV when it was about, late last year, he was saying something about potentially challenging for the NXT championship, and they was looking at him like, man, please. And he kind of just was like over it. He said, F this place, and he dipped. So Dion Lennox is the only one we technically know storyline wise. But of course, the internet being the internet, we technically know that the 4, Saquon Sugars is the gentleman with the hoodie half on. Cutler James is the gentleman next to him. Osiris Griffin is the gentleman next to Dion with the dreads. So these are the 4. Now, in the process of the promo, Saquon, once again, we don't know if Saquon, Cutler, and Osiris are keeping those names, or even Dion, because they just was getting their bars off. And when Saquon spoke, he finally revealed the name of the group, and it is the Darkstate. Now, as of now, the Darkstate wants to cause havoc and chaos in NXT. Nobody is safe, and they want to prove it. I mean, we've been seeing them throughout the weeks, and they have been doing that, causing havoc and chaos. And even the way NXT TV went off Tuesday, their music hit because they wanted to interfere in the after the NXT Underground match with Eddie Thorpe and Trick Williams. And afterwards, Obafemi came out, their music hits. Javon tried to kind of stop them to be like, hey, we have more things to worry about. And all they did was stood there as their music played, and chaos did ensue. So, hey, these 4 are doing something right. Now, there have been some slight missteps, but once again, this is NXT, where these gentlemen are here to learn. They are here to hone their crafts. They are here to get better, but their introduction wasn't necessarily their fault because they was introduced officially at Vengeance Day. They had a few vignettes here and there on NXT where they was kind of interrupting the broadcast, but officially we saw them during Vengeance Day, which this image here. Now, The one misstep I wish they would have done from jump. We should have known Dion Lennox was Dion Lennox. Mainly because he's the one we known from jump. We've seen him. He was pivotal roles with the whole Carmen Petrovich, Ashanti the Adonis, Nikita Lyons love story, along with Brinley Reese and all of these things. So we know who he was. I wish they would have revealed him from jump. Like the moment they did what they did, he could have pulled down the mask and it would have been like, that's Dion Lennox. What is he doing? You know, the last time we saw Dion, he was a upstanding gentleman. He was a pillar. He was who people went to. What's going on? How has he turned to the dark side? Has he you know, it would have put more gravitas on it, because it's like, wait, Dion was this book smart, bookworm individual. What's going on? You didn't lost your smile, and now you're running with these three. He should have been revealed from jump. And once again, this is me fantasy booking because I kind of want this to work. Now, I'm going to also mention some of the roadblocks, pun intended, of what could happen with Darkstate, but I kind of want this to work. And also, while I'm talking about this, I'm going to be fantasy booking some of this and letting y'all know where my mind is going with Darkstate. So just bear with me as I take you for this ride. Dion should have been revealed from jump because he would have put, though his name wasn't the biggest in NXT, but it would have been known that, wait, Dion has not turned heel and he's running with these three. Second, the people on commentary really shouldn't have had said these four rogues from the Performance Center. Now, T.A.G, we discussed this before, that you're saying these four are from the Performance Center kind of kills it a little bit. It kind of kills it a little bit because it's like you're basically letting it be known that they're rookies. You're letting it be known that, you know, these four are maybe not so much the most fearful, but to kind of just put it out there that these four from the Performance Center, these four rogues, it's like, you're kind of minimizing them. You're kind of minimizing them just a scotch. And once again, these are my opinions. If you feel differently, of course, feel free to let me know in the comments. But I'm just going off of, once again, how I'm seeing it and how it's playing out. But they shouldn't have been revealed as four rogues from the Performance Center, mainly because we saw what happened with Retribution. And if anybody remembers Retribution's thing, they were a group of people who were causing havoc, causing chaos. They was destroying camera feed. They was destroying sets. They was beating up people left and right. We knew the group consisted of men and women, and it was just chaos. It was chaos with Retribution. And then it was like, oh, Retribution signs a contract and now they're part of WWE. And it was like, well, wait, doesn't that go against everything Retribution was so-called standing for? And then they gave us the swerve with pairing Mustafa Ali with them, and then it still just didn't work out. I don't want this to turn into Retribution 2.0. It seems like they're doing a little bit better with course correcting, especially now that they gave them an official name. Now, they still haven't necessarily introduced the other three. Excuse me. Or still let it be known that Dion Lennox is still Dion Lennox, but we're here now. So I think the way the group is now is fine because they're not making it seem like they have a leader per se. They're making it seem like they're really just four gentlemen who want to turn NXT upside down. They want to turn NXT upside down. I think the words were being used that they want to renovate, revolutionize, and things like that. Like it's not a bad promo. It's not a bad promo. Like I said, it was from this past Tuesday's NXT. It is not a bad promo. They want to basically flip it upside down by any means. They're basically saying nobody is safe, that you don't know when Darkstate is going to strike, but basically keep eyes in the back of your head because things can get real with Darkstate around. Now, this is where fantasy booking for me gets a little weird. And it starts with this. It starts with Shawn Spears. Yes. This Shawn Spears. And the reason why the fantasy booking is running wild in my head, when Shawn Spears first came back, he was, being cryptic with his messages. He was basically like, hey, give into the anger, give into your urges, give into your things of that nature, because he tried to convert Ridge Holland. It didn't work. He was trying to convert somebody else. I can't remember. And it kind of faltered off until he finally got Brooks Jensen, then eventually Nico Vance, and now Izzy Dane. And collectively, they're known as the culling. Now, for those who don't know the definition of the culling, reduction of wild animal population by selective slaughter. The action of sending an inferior or surplus farm animals to be slaughtered. Doesn't that almost sound like what these four want to do? In a nutshell, it sounds like what these four want to do. So, not saying this is wrong, but I think the way Shawn Spears was going, this paired with this kind of would have been a little dope. And once again, nothing against Brooks, nothing against Nico, and nothing against Izzy. I'm just going off of simply what these four want to do, what this means in totality, and kind of what he was saying when he first came back to NXT. It all kind of aligns together, if you ask me. And once again, I know this is my brain and this is how it moves. Now, since we haven't got that, we have to now be careful in NXT, because if we're looking faction-wise, we now have the Cullen, we have the D'Angelo family, and we now have Darkstate. And at some point, we know these gentlemen are going to have to start wrestling matches. So one thing you can't do, to go back to the retribution aspect, you can't book these gentlemen to, in essence, be getting their asses whooped. They've been causing havoc and chaos. You don't want to start them off on the path of now they getting their asses whooped. Then it's going to turn into a, well, why did we do this in the first place? What was the sole reason of writing Dion off TV, having him paired with these other gentlemen? They cause havoc for a few weeks, and boom, they start to lose. And also, I'm not also saying throw every title on them as well. Have Dion get the NXT championship, have one of the other gentlemen get the North American championship, and have another one of the gentlemen, and have the other two gentlemen get tag team championships. As you can see, the current the longest running tag prediction champion is in the building in Lip Dizzle. And Dizzle, to catch you up with what I was just saying, explaining, was this group here, once again, they revealed themselves to be Darkstate, and they should have been paired with this gentleman here.
I would agree.
Mainly because of this name, and I read the definition of what the culling means. And so now that they have them running with the 4, and I'm basically talking about how they should be booked, because we don't want Retribution 2.0. Now, once again, the way my brain is working, have these gentlemen still exert their dominance in the matches. Because if you look at these gentlemen, other than Saquon, because once again, we don't know if they're going to still go by their names. Other than Saquon, Cutler and Osiris and Dion got some size to him. Saquon looks like he may be that scrappy, high flyer potential, but you don't want to book these gentlemen to lose and look like chump when they've been running roughshod over the NXT locker room. Now, since we have Sean Spears in the Cullen, we have the D'Angelo family, there are 2 other ways my brain could make this group. Actually, there's 3 other ways. Maybe they can get another member with some more cachet to their name. And I heard a rumor that the other member could be Javon. We don't know. That would be interesting to see. But there's 2 other gentlemen that I can see be paired with this group. One gentleman had just lost his faction, and he's been very influential to locker rooms. And I'm not necessarily saying send Karrion Kross back to NXT, but he could be like their silent benefactor type thing. Like he could be like their mentor in essence, because once again, here in the promo, it sounds like the things Karrion Kross wants to do. Create that chaos, create that havoc within NXT.
Okay.
What you got?
I'm intrigued now. But that's based off of what you just said. Because before, I've always said, and even last night when I messaged you about it, not a believer. Because, and that's primarily, and I'm going off of just my point of view from what I've been seeing.
Okay.
They have everything that they've done, especially when it comes to the promo, because I think that was more telling, because them doing the run-ins and stuff, it is what it is. But their promo, all it screams to me is a whole lot of angst.
It does.
With the bit of inexperience.
It does.
And I was like, it just seems like this is not the type. This is something that they would put on. What's the other show that's under NXT?
Evolve.
It seems like it would be on Evolve versus being on NXT, because to me it makes NXT seem more developmental when you have it like this. Now, when you throw in the aspect of them being coerced or being led by somebody and influenced, I think it sounds a lot better and it comes off way better, especially when you throw in the aspect, and we're just talking hypotheticals here, with the idea of Karrion Kross, especially seeing as how he lost
Final Testament.
Yeah. And this would be, especially if you do a branching story, you know, from main roster to here, and it helps build them up in a way. So I'm cool with that. And even the aspect of Sean Spears, I think that would have been a cool thing to have him be the puppet master in this whole thing, to help him get to a point to where he's challenging for the NXT championship. Now I know Sean Spears has gone on to say that, you know, he's cool with ending things in NXT and that and him just being a teacher and all this other stuff. Cool, no problem. But I still think that he can get more out of this while he's there, and I think this will be a good deal for that. So now, with you saying it that way, my intrigue is there now versus me just not caring.
And see, and like I was mentioning earlier, I wish it would have been him because of the things he was saying when he first came back. Remember how he was trying to convert Ridge Holland? Remember how he was trying to do this? And some of the things he's saying, like I said, and once again, no offense to Brooks, Izzy, and Nico, but considering what the group was saying and considering what Spears was saying, those 5 would have been good. It would have been like, damn, that would have been, like I said, especially with the name of the culling, because, you know, the slaughter. Yes. So, like I said, Darkstate, I happen to like the name. It's not a bad name. It's not a bad name. Now, there's one other person that could potentially help Darkstate if need be. If Darkstate still needs that guidance and still needs that oomph, if they're not doing it. And once again, I understand we want him to come back to the main roster and, you know, do his thing. But I'm just saying, the way Darkstate has been presented, throw a little bit of Aleister Black in there. I'm just saying. And once again, like I mentioned earlier, this is me and my fantasy booking. This is what I've been thinking about ever since they revealed themselves.
Yeah. And I would agree with the Aleister Black booking on that. The only problem that I have with that is that the experience gap. Yes. Because it would be a disservice to Aleister to have to take them on versus it being a Karrion Kross or Sean Spears who could actually benefit from that, especially Sean Spears, because I'm with you 100% on the Sean Spears thing, because I think it helps them without overshadowing Sean Spears, and it puts Sean Spears in a leader aspect, because what he has right now, with who he has surrounding them, Izzy, Nico, and Brooks, they all have the potential to do something because they're technically established names in the NXT spectrum. So for them, it makes them fall in the same category as every other faction within NXT. Like nothing sets them apart outside of the members, because everything feels the same. Like you have the pseudo leader, you have the female at this point, you have what could be considered as the muscle, and then you have the other guy. So if Sean Spears would have had the culling be Darkstate at that point, I think it would have been way better, because it shows him here and them here. So I'm with that. And the same thing with Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross, again, like I said before, pulling the strings and branching storylines, and then he can have them go back and forth to get those reps in. But again, inexperience. I hope this is something that everybody has a hand in, as far as Trips, Sean, even Road Dogg to an extent, to where they can actually make this work and not be a wet fart, for lack of a better term. Because the run-ins are going to get old at a point.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Because also too, the first thing I said was, when they debuted at Vengeance Day and we got this, I
Mhm.
said Dion should have revealed himself then, because then we would have put that face to where like, wait, then you know that's when the announce team could have been like, wait, Dion Lennox, how could he he should have, that way it would have put like, wait, Dion Lennox should have turned into the dark side. Wait, what's going on? You know,
Interesting.
they should have revealed it. And once again, and also to go into other companies, we don't want it to be I'm glad it didn't turn into an aces and eights situation. And just like what Dizzle was saying about the run-ins, I don't want it to turn into a Death Riders situation.
Oh man.
And if you're wondering why I want this group to work, this is the first faction like this of its kind in NXT. Because if you look at NXT as a whole, NXT has only ever had three male factions, well, mixed factions in its whole entirety. You had Undisputed Era.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the Culling, the D'Angelo family, and now Darkstate.
Oh, you see all male.
Yeah, I did say all male, then I did say mixed. And then of course that one time where Pat McAfee kind of assembled his little group. But
and the way.
So there hasn't been many factions, but if you look at all male factions, it's only been Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
You know, so this is a chance to do something cool within NXT, but stop announcing that they from the Performance Center. Stop. Let them, if they're still going to do run-ins and things like that, let it be a little more focused now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, them beating up Tony D, then them somewhat, and the way they tried to frame it with the way NXT ended Tuesday was them showing up in the audience caused the brawl between Oba and Trick. Oba and Trick was going to fight anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I want it to work. I want it to work because it's the second male-driven faction and like fifth overall faction in NXT history, pretty much. So I do want it to work.
Well, I want to swing back to what you said earlier when it came to Javon Evans. Do you think he could work with? Well, I'm gonna go as to say leading something like this.
The issue with Javon Evans is gonna be very Mustafa Ali-ish, because you know he was the smiling, happy baby face. After his whole incident with Ethan Page, you know, he's becoming more hardened, and then the whole issues with him and Trick now, and it seemed like it could lead him to this path, but as far as leading, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough because, you know, the young OG, you know, it's young, and not saying I don't have faith in him. It's just that's a lot to put on him.
Yeah,
it is a lot. That's why I, you know, recommended Spears.
Yeah,
and then of course, you know, Karrion or Alistair. But young OG wouldn't be bad. You know, it's just we got to give him some direction now. We got to start giving them some direction.
Most definitely. And they've pretty much attacked at least half the roster already, huh?
The only people they had not attacked Trick and a few others. And maybe he could be the swerve.
Interesting.
You know, maybe Trick could be that swerve. But pretty much most of the tag teams have been attacked by them. Tony D this past week, Oba a few times, Javon. So they've been beating up a few people. So we shall see. But you know, seeing this image, then of course seeing them being revealed, we need them to start honing in and starting to give it that laser focus now.
Yeah, because that's my worry is that once all the mystique wears off and they start actually getting into matches, that everything just snowballs in the wrong direction.
Yes, and pretty much if we really have to do it, if they got to beat up on some Evolve people to kind of get them started, that's fine. But at some point, they have to start doing the damn thing.
Yeah,
like if Dion is going to be kind of like the de facto leader, he has to start inserting some dominance somewhere. If two of them are going to be a tag team, they got to start inserting that dominance in the tag division. And if one of the others is going to be solo, he has to start inserting that, dominance as the other solo. But they got to start doing it. And since they kind of gave them that time this week, I'm assuming we're going to start getting more starting next week. I would assuming. Hope so.
Because somebody's going to start asking questions.
Yes. Yes. So at some point, because it's going to be like, Ava, like, can you not control? Like, can you not control your people? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, you got anything else you want to add on? Because I think I got all the bars off. I need to get off.
Nah, you've effectively slightly changed my mind. So now I'm in a realm of intrigue versus I just don't care. So you've changed that. So I think mission accomplished on that end.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, I told you, I love this brand too much, y'all, and I don't want it to see. I don't want, like Dizzle said earlier, I don't want something like this, especially how big it was making it, to end up like a wet fart.
100%.
So, but once again, listen them in order of this photo: Osiris, Cutler, Saquon, Dion. It's time for y'all to go ahead and start doing the damn thing and letting Darkstate, be an interesting faction. Like, I'm not trying to put y'all on the pedestal of Undisputed Era, because that would be totally unfair to y'all.
Absolutely.
Because those were 4 established gentlemen that
Indeed,
crazy enough that none of them made it to the main roster, but that was 4 established gentlemen that ran roughshod on NXT, and they did that right. So we need y'all to do it for the in essence of the new generation of NXT.
Make me a believer.
There you go. That would
and
be
everybody else.
That would be the phrase we'll end it on. Like this will say, make him a believer. But yeah, it was a special little bonus NXT T.A.G. because I wanted to talk about Darkstate and see how I feel and let y'all know how my mind was fantasy booking. And I got Dizzle to come along and kind of give his thoughts, because like he told y'all, he was against it, and he's saying I'm trying to change his mind. People, don't make me look like the fool, okay? Do not make me look like the fool. But Tag Nation, whether you loved it or hate it, don't forget to rate it, thumbs up, thumbs down, like, share, comment, subscribe, tag that notification bell so you can be notified for any of the videos we post, whether it's NXT.A.G, tier list, tag me ins, Dizzle moments, whatever. Shout outs to the whole gang. You got the champ, the official longest reigning champ. He took it back from me, y'all. The longest reigning Lip Dizzle. You got the heartthrob Jaeger Bombastic. You got Mr. Tag Rumble himself, aka the Forbidden Door, Juggernaut 097. And you got Liv's number 1 kicking it with Leo. So shout outs to the gang. Gang. Look here. We got our own little faction working here. We got our own little Darkstate.
I wouldn't go that far.
We got our own Darkstate trying to run roughshod over the IWC. But thank y'all for tuning in. And until next time, Love one another. Love yourself. Take care of one another. Take care of yourself. And Dizzle can warm it up for you because y'all can see him because I'm still disinvited. But like we normally do, we're gonna warm up this
too sweet to everybody.
Hit y'all with y'all
so
that
good.
Bada.
Bam.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen out there, whatever you do, don't forget to tag out. Peace.